Welcome to fifth grade. My name's Mrs. Shaver, and this is the first time I've ever had to do an actual back to school video, and that you're not getting me live and in person with all my enthusiasm. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a veteran teacher here in Mayflower for this is my 21st year, believe it or not. I've taught third grade for about 10 years and then moved up to fifth grade, and I would have to say I love teaching fifth grade. And part of the reason I love teaching fifth grade is because it's the year of transition for fifth graders to middle school. And this also means that during this year of development, students really begin to figure out who they are as people and as individuals. And so I love that connection that I get to make with my students. I love watching them develop their character. And I liked the conversations we can have about their character and the person they are becoming. So my passion is kids and building relationships. While academics are important and there will be a focus on academics, at the end of the day, we need people that walk through this world that are good citizens, who are kind people, who think of others before themselves. And so while we will definitely focus on academics and get a lot of learning done this year, I also really want to create some space where we can have conversations about who we are as people. So I'm just looking forward to getting to know your kids, and I hope in this video that you will find all the information that you need to really make this year go more smoothly, and that you'll have a great year in spite of the fact that we're starting it in such an unusual way. All right. So look forward to getting to know you this year. Welcome to fifth grade. I'm so excited to get to know you and your child this year. Tonight, we're going to talk about some things that will help you to be successful as a fifth grade parent. So these are some of the topics that we're going to cover tonight in this lovely virtual back to school night. So in fifth grade, we really see our role as teachers to prepare students to be successful as they transition into middle school, to provide them with some of the skills that they need as they become middle schoolers and they have to organize multiple teachers and multiple assignments. So we're really trying to focus on helping them to find those organizational skills they need, being able to be responsible with their supplies, managing their time. We all know that when you get to middle school and high school, you have multiple assignments from multiple teachers and classes, and that can be challenging to know how to manage your time and prioritize things. And then really in sixth and, middle school and high school, we want to see students begin to be, to advocate for themselves, right? So that their parent is not going to be able to easily have access to their teachers all the time. And they need to begin to advocate for themselves. So they're going to have to learn how to ask for clarification if there's something they're not understanding in a class. They're going to need to seek out help if they need help before a due date. And then they also need to become self-motivated. And I think this is a hard one for students in general, is just really becoming a learner who is motivated on their own and doesn't take the pressure of a parent or a teacher to be motivated. And then above everything else, they really need to be able to complete their work. In middle school, they're going to have grades, and it's important that they complete their work because it will affect what their grade is. So these are the skills we're kind of focused on, and we do things in fifth grade that will get kids so ready for those middle school years. So this year we have distance learning. So what does that really mean? I'm going to break it down because I keep hearing asynchronous and synchronous, and what does that all mean? Basically, that means we have large blocks of teaching time where students are going to be participating in both live instruction and independent learning. So this year, we are going to continue to sail. Even though we're doing it through our computers, we will strive to be your best. Attitude matters, integrity always, and lead by example. So as we go into the school year, there's some expectations for distance learning that will be important so that your child could be successful. They need to be on time to all the class meetings. They need to be respectful to their teacher and classmates. They need to be able to listen carefully and follow directions, use technology responsibly, and submit assignments on time. They need to actually speak up and ask if they need help or have a question. And they need to try to stay positive, do their best, and have fun this year. So this is what our schedule looks like. Monday through Thursday, we have what we call these learning blocks. That's how I've characterized them. And we have from 8:30 to 9:50, a reading block, 10:15 to 11:30, another block, which we're using for math. And then after our lunch break, we have our third block, which is a shorter block for writing. Friday looks almost the same, except there's not the after school third block. But students are going to continue their learning until 2:10 every day. So when we look at these blocks of times, these are the times when kids need to be on Zoom. It does not mean they will be on Zoom the whole time. So let's take a look at what a possible sample schedule, again, this is just kind of a made up schedule that could give you an idea of how it could possibly work. So we have all students showing up at 8:30 in the morning with a short class meeting where I would probably introduce the schedule of the day to them and let them know what we're doing today. Then we would transition into a reading time. And in reading time, I might break them up into smaller groups of about 9 or 10 students each. And then each of these groups would be working on different things. So group A might be with me, the teacher, and we might be doing a lesson together. Group B might be reading the story out of their anthology. And group C might be watching a short video and then doing some workbook pages. So as you can see, kids will be kind of going between some Zoom time and screen time and then actual reading time. So this is how a reading schedule could look. Then we could go to recess and then we come to math time. Again, this is not the actual schedule. This is just a possible schedule. So then group A could be with the teacher getting not a one-on-one, but a small group lesson, while group B is doing some independent practice. And then group C could be watching the video and taking notes for the next day's lesson. So after that, we would transition to lunch. And then we would have our writing block where it could be a whole group mini lesson and some practice, and then some independent work time in the afternoon with PE, art, and then of course, reading every day. So we want students to be reading daily. We want them to become competent, solid readers. We are required by the state to have 240 minutes of instruction daily. They're requiring, even in distance learning, to have some asynchronous and synchronous teaching, and then also to have a certain level of rigor involved. So I hope this gives you a little bit of a picture of what a possible schedule for the day could look like. Then let's talk about our curriculum and some of our programs we're using this year. So we still have our Journeys ELA program, and then we will integrate as much as we can our social studies into that. We have our writing program, which is called Write from the Beginning and uses thinking maps. We have our SWAN math program. And then we do have an official science book, but it is outdated and it's going to be replaced shortly because we have moved on to the next generation science standards. So when you hear people talk about NGSS, that is what they're referring to, next generation science standards. So we have some resources online, and we're fortunate to have Mr. Hernandez, who has a love for science and a passion, and he's going to help continue to spearhead our learning of science this year. Then we have our Renaissance Place, which is our AR reading program. And then we have a new program that's actually partnered or put out by Renaissance called Freckle. And Freckle is an adaptive program that has both ELA and math, and it's going to be our tool that we're going to use for intervention and for also enrichment. and we'll be using that throughout the day and sometimes as part of our independent work this year. So this year is different than the spring. In the springtime, when we went to distant learning, we were told that there was going to be limited grading as to not penalize students. And this time around, there is an expectation that we will be doing actual grading. So, as always, when we're looking at a report card and we're looking to put together grades, to come up with those grades, we're going to use multiple pieces of evidence, right? So we're going to use quizzes, tests, possibly their daily work, possibly, work that's done through Google Classroom. So it's going to be based on the standards that they've been taught during that grading period. Please keep in mind attendance and participation is being tracked along with their ability to meet the standards. And so that's part of measuring their success. So it's going to look pretty normal this year. So we still are going to have our AR reading program. We are still going to have each child make an individual trimester goal, and they'll have access to the online tests. And really, we love the AR reading program because we really feel like it's another tool that we can use. It's not the only tool. I recognize that sometimes for goals that having a reading goal isn't always a successful motivator for students, but it is one of the many tools that allows us to see whether or not a student has completed a book and whether they comprehend it. And it gives us more information about that student. You can find out what level your book is at arbookfinder.com. That will give you the ability to look up a title and see how many points it is and see what reading level it is. So even though we don't know what the end of the school year looks like, and we don't know if we will be able to have any kind of activities, we do know for sure that regardless of what happens at the end of the year, we will be having a promotion. And every year we give out awards at that promotion. We give out a presidential award for educational excellence, also better known as our Gold Award. We give one out for educational achievement, known as the Silver Award. So we'd like to tell parents about these awards at the very beginning of the year, because we will be looking at their grades, students' grades in the core subject areas. And we will also be looking to see whether or not they met 100% of their AR goal in all trimesters. So we always want parents and students to keep that in mind as we move forward, that if they're looking to earn the Gold Award and they're a high achieving student, that's the way they can do it. We also have a citizenship award at the end of the year as well. So this year for parent communication, we have transitioned from Class Dojo to what we are calling Parent Square. And you can actually get this app on your phone. You can use it on the computer as well. And I would encourage you to make sure that you're connected in that way, because information that's put out this year will go out through Parent Square. You'll also have communication through email. And you will also receive some regular progress reports through Aries this year as well. And the fifth grade team has worked together to create a fifth grade website. Thanks again to Mr. Hernandez and all his work. And we will be rolling that out this year, and we're excited to have that great tool of communication for parents. So if you need help, I am here. I am available to support you and to support your child's needs. So please reach out and contact me. I think the best way to get a hold of me is to either email or message me for an appointment. I have office hours most days from 1:15 to 3 p.m. I may have a meeting or a staff meeting, but I will always work around that and find a time that works for you as well. So please reach out. Don't be afraid to do that. And then here's my contact information. I'll leave that up on the screen for a minute so that you can copy it down. So last year, I struggled in the springtime to really find a balance between my work and life. And so this year, I'm really going to limit the time that I'm responding to messages between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. This way, it allows me to actually have a life outside of teaching. And so I will always do my best to respond to you in a timely manner. Just know that if you leave me a message that's after 6 p.m., that you most likely won't get a response until the next morning. So I still need volunteers, even though it is distance learning. If you have time in your day and you could even just be a present in a Zoom session, and I could put you in a breakout room with a group of students, even if it just means being there as a support in case they have questions, I'm still looking for parent volunteers. So if that's something you're interested in, you need to make an appointment with the office and fill out the paperwork, and then also fill out the link that can be found in my on the website, in my portion of the website. So thank you so much for your time. While I know that this isn't what we expected this year, we appreciate you, and we are excited to partner with you, and we're just excited to have a fantastic year. So thank you so much for your support.